Hello everyone, welcome you in my channel. For the one who already subscribed, welcome you back. And for the new one, welcome you here. This is the channel where we are going to talk about the leadership, empowerment, and basically how to be a good leader and a good person and how to transform and grow. Today in this episode, I'm having a special guest, Ellen Patricia from Indonesia, where we are going to talk about healthy ambition and how to be healthy ambition person and a leader at the same time. Ellen, welcome you in my podcast.
Well, thank you so much, Kornelia. It's my pleasure and honor to be in this podcast. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Before we begin, let me quickly introduce Ellen and then we begin our interview. Ellen Patricia is certified consultant counseling. She's also the chairwoman of Busur Emas Foundation. Did I correctly pronounce, Ellen, the name?
Almost. Yes, it's Busur Emas.
Busur Emas Foundation. She's also a recipient of many awards in Asia, especially the Global Coaching Leaders and also Healthy Award for Family Counselor. Ellen, if I miss anything, just please add that one because you are very active in your coaching field and also in terms of women leadership aspect as well. Ellen, welcome you.
Well, thank you again for having me. It's always a pleasure to just share with kindred spirits, which I assume is the audience of this podcast. And it's just my pleasure to be sharing about how to be healthily ambitious because I think we need more healthily ambitious people on this planet. So again, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Let's run a little intro and then let's jump to our interview. Okay, Ellen, my first question to you would be, being ambitious is very good. There is no doubt. But how to be a healthy ambition without destroying people around us, especially if we are leader, not necessarily a leader as well, other people who are part of the leadership group. And especially what does it mean in the business world? If you could explore that, that would be really great.
Sure. So, like I said, we need many more healthily ambitious people actually on this planet because being ambitious is really not a dirty word. It's actually on the opposite. It is a very respectable quality. And by definition, actually being ambitious is just mean having strong desire for accomplishment, which I believe it's a good thing because that signifies or rather indicate persistency in a person. So I think what makes ambitious and ambition is sort of being perceived negatively is because people tie that word with other things that actually not very related, or it's actually a side effect and not necessarily always go together. So ambition or being ambitious often being tied to being impatient or being pushy because the person really wants to reach the target, which can happen but not necessarily always the case. And also being ambitious also often relate to being greedy, which can happen again but not necessarily is always the case. And being ambitious also at times being tied to being obsessed with beating competitors, which I guess in our real world do happen, but it's not always the case. So I think what makes the word ambitious and ambition is being perceived with a lot of caution because again this word often being related to these negative components, and it is because people do not yet aware that these are side effects. These are not the core component of being ambitious, because we can be healthily ambitious, like you said. We can be a good leader with healthy ambition, and at the same time not having these negative components. Of course, if we have excessive ambition, that may make us lean towards the negative consequences or negative components of ambition, which like being pushy, being greedy, or being obsessed with beating others or defeating others, because excessive ambition does skew our thinking. And when our thinking are skewed, the risk is actually it damages the relationship. It even has the potential to be so detrimental to the mental health that the person is having. Also, it often leads to bad reputation.
Thank you, Ellen. I want to put the point and elaborate a little bit more the positive side. Like you mentioned, as a wrong connotation between that word, which is neither greedy, pushy, but those are the stuff which are really making forward to reach the goal. And making awareness is a very key. What then we need to look inside ourselves to make that one like a source for the creativity, for greater performance, for satisfaction at work. So what, in your opinion, would be that source who might give us the healthy ambition part?
Okay, so definitely ambition can be a source of creativity, like you mentioned. It even can be a source of great performance and satisfaction. But that needs to be something that accompanied with certain things, and those certain things are actually holistic ambition. Mm-hmm. That's how I perceive it. So holistic ambition, when it is in place, it can be a vital resource that help person to just achieve the best version of themselves. And when we talk about holistic ambition, there's actually 3 dimensions, and this is not my concept. It doesn't mean what I'm saying is it's not me that actually birthing this concept. It's a concept by Ron Carucci, but I often use it in my work. So holistic ambition actually covers 3 areas or 3 dimensions. One is performance, so how one can be ambitious in terms of performance. Another dimension is actually growth, because when one wants to achieve greater performance, then definitely there will be growth area that needs to be covered. And the last but not least is actually achievement, because achievement is relating to rewards, and it is the reward that actually drives us and motivates us to really push ourselves forward to reach what we want to achieve, what we want to perform, and the growth that we need so that we can have these rewards. So if we can embrace ambition in these 3 areas in a balanced manner, I think the ambition can be a vital resource for any leader to achieve great, not just greater performance, but also satisfaction and fulfillment in life.
Mm-hmm. Ellen, what about then how to get there? You mentioned those 3 aspects. So if we split it out, piece by piece, greater performance, growth and achievement, how you can give us more tips or visibility on that? How to get there? What are the sources for that?
Okay, so I think in order to get there, one would need to understand what does these 3 entails. So would it be okay if I sort of explain what these 3 entails before I explain about how to get there?
Absolutely. Let's do that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's 3 components, like I mentioned, performance, growth, and also the reward or the achievement. So performance is basically about achieving greater result, either for myself or my team or the organization that I'm leading. So it's about a goal or goals that I can realistically achieve for myself, or I can achieve with my team effort. So in performance ambition, the key is really about knowing how far to reach, how far to push, because with the right level of pushing beyond the comfort boundaries is really where we can grow our performance. Now the challenge is really about not pushing too far, because when we are pushing too far, it it can be so strenuous and so stressful, and we can become so discouraged because it's like very far from our current capability. So there's high chance that the person may give up because it's just too far away. And another part of it is actually, or another extreme of it is actually not pushing far enough. Because when the person is not pushing far enough, we can actually, especially leaders are those who they have a lot of performance, they have a lot of potential, and if they're not pushing far enough, they can easily become bored with the work and with the things that they're doing daily in and out. So if that happens, then the person will not realizing the full potential that he or she has. So it's really about, again, creating the right level of difficulty in pushing beyond the comfort zone. So that's about the performance ambition. And the second one is actually about the growth. And the growth is really about new levels of technical mastery and also personal mastery. So there's two layers in growth ambition, technical and also personal. Now, this growth ambition is actually related a lot with the performance ambition, because growth ambition is really about identifying growth areas that I or my team will need to develop so that I can achieve the performance that I have set out that I want to achieve. And this growth can cover technical skills, or it can cover personal soft skills. So again, there's two layers, and it's about identifying where I am now and the destination that I want to reach, and what's the gap between where I am now and the destination that I want to reach. So the technical skill is really about the technical matters that I need to just equip myself to fill in the gap, whereas the personal skills is really about what do I need to develop in myself so that I can, again, fill in the gap. It can be about empathy, probably. It can be about greater persistence in terms of challenges. So when we combine this technical and also personal mastery, then we have a powerful duo that can really boost the person to achieve what the performance target that has been set out in the beginning. And I think being a leader, what also beneficial if we have this growth area always in mind, it helps us to stay humble, because it helps us to always be aware that we still need to grow continuously, that what we have now is actually does not mean that we have it all already. So again, it keeps us humble, it keeps us in perspective when we are looking back to all the successes that we have achieved.
And Ellen, one more thing, once you mention all this positive side like assessment, I think, can we make a statement that naturally these bad flows which are connotated with ambitious, like you mentioned, bully, pushy, they naturally start dropping out, isn't it? Because once we start knowing, like you mentioned in the performance, you will see how far you can reach and how far you can go. Then you realize it's too much because I'm pushing too much myself, or I'm pushing too much my team, isn't it? Is it how it's working?
It can be how it works. It will depend on my own self-awareness. Am I aware that I am pushing too far? Am I aware that I am pushing others too much? Because if I'm not aware, then I will just keep doing it. So awareness is actually a key in developing these areas. Especially, it also helps us in identifying our growth areas. For example, if I am not patient enough and I tend to push people to achieve what we have set out to do, then that is something that I identify as my growth. So that's something that I need to learn so that I can help my team instead of stressing my team. So again, that depends on the awareness that the leader has about the growth area that he or she needs to develop in order to fill in the gap.
Yeah. I interrupted you. So then the third one was achievement. So can you also elaborate nicely like you did it for the previous two?
Sure. Yeah, so achievement ambition is really about attaining the rewards that we desire for ourselves or for our team. And it is really this reward that drives us and motivates us. It's the reward that we want to get as a result of our effort. So the performance is really just a means to achieve this achievement ambition. Achievement ambition can be becoming the best company in the field of probably automotive, or becoming the best coach in 2021, or becoming the most voted leaders in this area. So it's really about that state that we want to achieve, and the performance becomes the indicator that how can this reward be achieved. Now, this reward, at times, if we are not really self-aware, or our self-awareness is not really refined, this is often the most easily perverted part or component or dimension of the ambition, because it drives us so much. It's really what makes us want to keep going. So the key here is really about making sure, as we try to achieve this achievement ambition, we're not doing it at the expense of others. Others meaning our competitors, or others meaning our own team. Because like we discussed earlier, it can be the scenario whereby I desire this reward so much that I'm pushing my team too much because I really desire this. So I'm not aware anymore about the impact that I am doing that actually counterproductive to what I want to achieve. So awareness is really something that helps to make it balanced, because when it is balanced, actually this achievement ambition is something that will sustain the motivation when the going gets tough, because it's not always easy to achieve what we want to achieve. So having that motivation helps us to just maintain our spirit when again the road feels so difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you very eloquently described that one and picture that for its individual aspects. Ellen, my next question would be how to then would be the formula, because I know you are working with your clients in a different subject. Healthy ambitious is one of them, when it's combined with the whole personal and individual goals as well. So what will be your formula which you would like to share, how to start looking on that evaluation?
Yeah, so looking back on my experience and also my clients' experience and also the experience that I have in leading Busur Emas Foundation for 1 decade, I think there's a few things that can be extracted. One is that if we want to be healthily ambitious, then we cannot not have a goal. We always have to have a goal because it pulls us. The goal will pull us. So having a goal always will help us to become ambitious. And it's okay. I think it's not just okay. It's actually necessary to become a person that always have a goal, because we need to decide for ourselves what goal we want to have. So it's really about setting the direction, living intentionally. Where do I want to go from here next? So it's about living intentionally. And when I live intentionally, I am focused. I am not easily distracted by all the glitters that come my way. So the question that I think I often ask people, clients, team members, what goal are you working at the moment? Just to have that conversation going, because that actually again keeps the focus on the direction. So that's one thing. Another one would be always growing and always on the mission to grow. Because when we continuously have a goal, definitely there will be areas or gaps that we will identify from here to there. There's this saying from Marshall Goldsmith, that famous coach, that what got you here will not get you there. So what got me here may not get me to where I want to go. So I need to identify from here to there, what do I need to develop in myself so that I can get there, because what got me here may not necessarily got me there. So it's really about continuous growth, always learning new things. And when we talk about learning, I think the sky is really the limit. And what I have found helpful in terms of continuously growing is really connecting with similar, or I tend to term it kindred spirit, to relate and connect with kindred spirits, because I believe iron sharpen irons, just likewise humans sharpen humans. So having that connection with kindred spirits, with people who are also healthily ambitious, will keep that fire going, keep it flaming inside, so that I don't become complacent with myself, but really see that, oh yeah, I still need to grow in this area, I still need to grow in that area. And also connecting with kindred spirits helps me to learn always from others, because there's so much to learn. People have achieved certain things that I may not have achieved yet, and I can always learn from people. So that's why I'm so excited that I can connect with you and also can learn from you. I believe that there's a lot that I can learn from you and all the people in the Global Women Club. So that is something that also will be helpful if you want to be a healthily ambitious person. And another thing is really making ourselves our biggest competitor, not others, because I think every one of us should run our own race. We are unique beings. We are put on this planet with unique contribution. And again, it's comparing with the intention to defeat. I don't think it will be healthy. I think what will be healthy is really when we see others and then we see, okay, I need to grow in this area, I need to grow in this area. So it's comparing with the intention to identify growth area, not with the intention to defeat, and also definitely not with envy, and also not to just get even. So I think to be able to do this, one needs to develop two things simultaneously. One is security, that we are secure enough in ourselves, knowing that we don't have to be that person or this person to be enough. We are enough just as we are. I am enough just as I am. And having that security helps me to make myself my biggest competitor, because I'm competing with myself. I'm not competing with any others to make myself enough. On the other hand, I am also humble enough to be able to say, yeah, I still need to grow in this area, and probably I can learn from this person, or I need to grow in that area and I can learn from that person. So having that balance between security and humility is really helping us to just running our own race well and keep going whatever that is ahead. And I think that is going to be very powerful combination when we have those things. And of course, being human, it's always good to have fun, to have enough rest, to take care of our body, take care of our mind, because we know this body is on loan. We will return it back, and while we have it on loan, we can use it. It's a vessel that we can experience life. And it's good to take care of our body well, because it's a treasure actually, really, to identify what nourishes my body, what nourishes my mind, what nourishes my soul, and to include that in my schedule, because I always believe that what does not get scheduled does not get done. It can be a wishful thinking, but once it is scheduled, then the possibility that it gets done usually gets higher.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I fully resonate with all your statement which you made, especially like what is scheduled, it is done. Even our interview, when we came to that idea, we just scheduled it, we defined that date, and we went for that. It's very nice, Ellen, that you are highlighting that aspect, because majority of the growth and performance is like benchmark with the outside, measuring ourselves with the outside, which is okay. But what you just highlighted here, very important, is the starting from the ground zero, which means ourself, in the respect of making a proper assessment and say where we are, and then start this journey. Like you mentioned, it's a constant journey. It's It's nothing like it's done, now I can relax and I cannot do anything. And still identifying these opportunities, threats. I'm always comparing that one into SWOT analysis, but you just use that tool showing that how to identify, and naturally we will go to the healthy ambitions, you know what I mean, like you mentioned, the bad connotation which we start at the beginning, it will naturally start dropping out. So we will be more, like you mentioned, side effect, more humble, more human being, more aligned, more relaxed. No, it's really great. Ellen, my next question would be related, I think it's strongly related to that, unless you will tell me, no, we should look for that aspect in a different angle. What about the discipline with all of these goals achievement? How the discipline is playing a role? If someone is saying, I don't have a discipline to doing that, how would you like to tackle that connotation with healthy ambition, and it's also related with the discipline, or maybe not so much?
I think that's very much related, because discipline is truly needed if we want to achieve what we said we want to achieve. Otherwise, it will only be wishful thinking. And I think discipline, if one lacks discipline, then definitely there's a growth area that one can grow, because discipline is something that everyone can learn. Everyone can train himself or herself to be more disciplined. It's just a matter of whether I want to be more disciplined or not. It sounds simple, but well, it is. But again, simple may not mean easy.
Absolutely.
Because yeah, so when we say we want it, we have a strong desire for it, then usually we will do whatever it takes. We may say that I don't have enough resources. Then we will figure out how can I make myself have that resource. And it takes discipline to think, because if one is too hectic, the schedule is too hectic, we don't have enough time to think. It takes discipline to rest. A lot of, I think, successful people still struggle with having enough rest. It takes discipline also to have fun. And life, with all successes, if it doesn't feel fun, if we cannot enjoy the life that we have, I don't think it's a successful life, at least not by my definition. I think a successful life is life that is not only successful in work area, but also I can enjoy what I am successful at. I can enjoy it with my loved ones, my success. I think that's my definition of true success. And all this take discipline, because if not, we are just being carried away by life. And that's going back to intentional living. Am I living my life intentionally, or I'm living my life just by default and just be carried out by the flow that people say or people form around me? And one day I just find out I end up somewhere that I never thought I will, because I had never thought about it in the beginning that this is the direction that I want to go. And by setting that direction, I intentionally setting out also the action plan about how do I want to end up in that destination.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. Even like you mentioned, it needs to be holistic view. Even though if we are super goal achiever in terms of work area, even if we are not so good in the private, this needs to be scheduled. This needs to be disciplined as well. So at the end, it gets to the balance. No, it's awesome. It's really great. And then what about the aspect in terms of having others to support us? Because majority of leaders, they are kind of alone in a journey, you know. But what I'm referring to, it's more like a advisor, like you mentioned, resonate with the spirit, with the people who can lift you up, who can give you the guidance, and who are good parameter to check where you are. So what would be your advice in that aspect as well, in terms of healthy ambition piece?
I think that's also very much related, because when we say we want to achieve a certain performance target, or we want to achieve a certain result, then usually there's a gap, right? The growth area that we need to fill in. Now, this growth area, we may aware of it fully, or at times there are areas that we cannot see for ourselves, and it needs others to help us see those growth areas. Because everyone, like no exception, even president, even like the best coach ever, they still have blind spots. That's just part of being human. Human have blind spots, and in order to uncover these blind spots, usually the help of others will definitely be beneficial. So I think as human, if we want to really grow, and by growing achieve more, then having the support of others is really a mandatory thing that we cannot have without. I I guess that's why like presidents usually always have advisors, because they know that this is important, because they don't want to make decision that is coming from blind spots. And it's wise to have that kind of environment, not just like supporting us in making good decision, uncovering areas that we need to grow, but also just to give us emotional support when we need them. I guess humans experience are not always up all the way. There are times when we feel down, and it's okay to feel down at some time. And when we feel down, it's always good to have someone that can give us that emotional support. And I think by having that, we actually making ourselves better in our capability to support others emotionally as well, because we cannot give what we do not have. If we never have emotional support, I think it's going to be very hard to give emotional support to others. What goes around always comes around. I guess that's just like natural law.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You cannot serve if your cup is half empty or basically empty. It's the same logic. No, absolutely. That's why I want to emphasize that one, because I highly believe that that journey doesn't have to be alone. It needs to be surrounded with the right-minded people. And what is coming through our interview is basically the mindset, which you constantly, like, I'm finding that one as a source. Even defining the healthy ambition, it's also kind of mindset when it starts with awareness about how to grow, how to celebrate all the good part in our life. It's really great. Ellen, I would like to go towards the end of our interview, and the last two questions which I have for you, it's more personal, which means what lights you up on a daily basis when you start your day, because this is also related to your healthy ambition as well. So if you could pull and share with our audience, that would be great.
Sure. I think for the past years, what I've been training myself is to really dedicate the first hour in my day to just be grateful. I think that what lights up my day, to just having that awareness again that I have so much blessings in my life, that no matter how the day was went, it just always like fills up my soul to be able to be aware of these blessings, these gifts that I have. So usually what I did is every morning I dedicate my first hour for this gratitude journal, and I identify the blessings that I received the day before. And it's like even the small things that, oh yeah, my pot of flowers actually blossoms yesterday. It doesn't always blossom, but it did blossom yesterday. And it's amazing that these small things can actually fills my soul as well. And I think that practice has tremendously helped me to just be in a good spirit. It doesn't mean that in that day I'm not able to have an experience that actually caused my emotion to go down. I still have, but that actually decreases the level of, or the depth and the duration where I feel down, because I know that this too shall pass, because day in and day out I have noticed there's always blessings in my days.
Thank you, Ellen. This is very, very powerful, because we're forgetting about that one, and that one, which is like you mentioned, it's side effect. Once your spirit, once your soul is full, there's another side effect which is directly related to other elements of persistent, having a reasons, having a drive. Awesome. Ellen, where our audience can find you, if you could mention quickly where they can find you, or maybe coming event where you're organizing, that would be really great.
Sure. I have a website. It's www.ellenpatricia.com, and also a YouTube channel, but often my YouTube channel is in my language, in Indonesian, so it's Ellen Patricia. But I also hang out in Instagram. It's ellenpatricia.world, and also Facebook in Ellen Patricia. So these are the platforms where I can connect with people from different parts of the world.
Thank you. We are going to link all this information in the description box down below. And it was great pleasure to talk to you and spend the time with you, talking about the healthy ambition and giving to our audience tips on how to tackle and identify if we are in the healthy ambition direction already, or we need to make some fine-tuning to be there. Guys, it was a pleasure to be with you. If you want to stay tuned, please subscribe or click notification button so you are going to know when the new video has been posted. Thank you very much and see you soon.
Well, thank you, Kornelia.